It's actually a better picture, to be honest
with you. I just wish I could fucking hold it up.
It's good. Don't you got a fucking glass or something you can put behind it?
I got a charger in it because my phone. I can't have this thing dying now. So it's like.
That's true.
Wait, hold on.
Try it upside down. Sometimes your phone will flip.
No. But I like where your head is though. Usually it's up your ass, so it's fucking.
This is true. It's a 50-50 shot.
No, I'm kidding. Wait, is this gonna work? No.
Yeah.
Fucking 0 for 2.
How much % you got on there?
I feel like Stanton. Oh, I just brought beer. That'll work. Wait, hold on. Nice 12-pack of Sam Adams will fucking do the trick.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, you'll love it. Wait a minute.
Look at this. Look at this fucking guy.
Fucking beer is always a savior. Always is.
Booze is the answer to all your problems.
Has been for years. Let's go. Don't go anywhere, bitch.
Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Solid as a rock.
I think we're good.
Solid as a rock. I'm hitting record now.
Yeah, let's motor do this.
Okay. So we have our AFC West. Got a little Olympic update going on as we speak.
I heard it's not going great.
It's not going great, but there's still a whole quarter to go. And we have our 3 teams that need to get off to a hot start. I do not have a trivia question for you today, so it's just yours.
That's disappointing.
And then we'll be out of here.
Excellent.
Sound good? I'm going to get it started then. Here we go. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Colasano, joined as always by my good friend and AFC West aficionado, Mr. Scott Bracey. How's it going, dude?
Bump and Run where there's never a dull moment. How are you, sir?
If you're wondering, hey, why are you guys a little late today? For the guys, so for those of you who usually listen live on Facebook or today on YouTube, more computer issues, technical glitches, but actually Scotty's got it up and working great using his phone. He looks fantastic. I would consider using the phone more often because you're a handsome fella there. A nice clear 720 HD.
Very, very handsome today.
Very good. 1080 might be a problem, but 720 really works for you. Just saying. Just saying. So before we get into our AFC West, again, as we're doing this live, I'm looking at the TV, and Serbia is up on the U.S. in the just started the fourth quarter, 76-63. They're just raining threes. They're like just can't miss on the threes. Steph is rocking threes also, but KD has been a big scorer for them, and it doesn't look like he is as much today. So as we speak right now, 11-point game. USA down 11 with about 9.5 minutes to go, 9 minutes to go. So we'll see how that goes.
What channel is that on? Is it on NBC?
NBC? Yeah, NBC.
I got it. Yeah. Down by now 9.
You're probably a couple seconds ahead of me, so if you want to do the updates, that's fine.
I will. I don't want to ruin it for you. Oh, that's a carry. Oh, LeBron, they don't call it. Oh.
As you're ruining it for me.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
So it's been an interesting Olympics so far. I've had fun. I've enjoyed watching it. I was watching the men's volleyball yesterday. I still didn't see the result of what happened between the United States and Poland. I don't know if you saw any of that. I just am just blown away by how hard these guys hit the ball. It's just sick. It's really amazing. I don't know how the hell. I'm more looking at it from if you're on the defensive side and you're trying to like dig.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you see it. Like some of these guys are barely getting a hand on it, and it's just it's a really talented. These guys and gals are super talented, man, because they hit the ball so hard nowadays. But
yeah, it's
incredible. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun. I did have an update that Noah Lyles did not win his 200. He was trying to go for the
double gold
in the 100 and 200. He was running with COVID today and just knocked a little bit out. My guess is he was running with it yesterday too, because you have to finish in a top 2 in the heats to get to the medal race, and he came in second, and the announcers were pretty surprised. They said it doesn't matter because you're in the finals, but they were a little surprised. So that looking back now that he has COVID, maybe that's why he didn't push as hard. He did just enough to get to the finals race and wasn't good enough.
It's funny what a couple of years does. A couple of years ago, COVID would scare you. Can't go near to send you home on a plane by yourself, and now you can run right next.
Now
to
they're just running with it. Yeah,
no problem.
So we're officially past COVID. That's for sure.
Shit. Yeah, it's
that
the flu.
is for sure.
Just to keep you updated here, USA in deep shit. They are down. Djokovic has a 3, and that is no good. USA down 11, 7.5 to go.
Plenty of time.
USA can't hit anything. LeBron's got to stop shooting threes. Durant's got to hit this. It's got to go.
LeBron needs some
threes in and a foul.
LeBron needs some hair coloring on the sides of the beard. He's getting a little gray. He's working his way towards my beard.
He's on his way, and it's
which
not
sometimes,
as good as yours, my friend.
Sometimes when I see it in the screen here, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the hell is that?
Jokic trucked a guy on the screen, so now it's a 3-point play, and Anthony Davis shooting 2. So this is getting hairy, as they say.
It's hairy for sure. Hey, let's hit the AFC West.
Let's do it,
and we'll give updates as we see them.
Last year's order: the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously first place Super Bowl champs. The Las Vegas Raiders, I can't believe they finished in second with all the crap they had going on. The Denver Broncos finished third, and the Los Angeles Chargers, bad coach, bad roster, injuries, they finished in last. Let's kick this off with the only way to do it, the defending champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. They added wide receiver Hollywood Brown. And I think that's about it. They lost wide receiver Mardaz Valdez-Scantling, cornerback L'Jarius Sneed, and running back Jerick McKinnon.
McKinnon hurts a little, but not like that. Just Sneed hurts.
Sneed hurts big time, dude. He was. I thought they would find a way to get it done, but tag him or something, but they did not.
Tough one.
They drafted speedy wide receiver out of Texas, Xavier Worthy, first pick, 28th overall. And maybe future Kelsey replacement tight end Jared Wiley out of TCU in the 4th round. Very good player. Kelsey likes him a lot.
Yeah. Good guy to learn from.
No shit. Tough out of conference games. September 15th host the Bengals. October 20th at the Niners, and December 21st host the Texans. Listen, bro, I'll be honest with you. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, they're still the favorite, in my opinion, to win the Super Bowl. I hope they do not, but I think you got to put them up there as of now.
I think you're probably right. I think they're starting to – well, look, they've been smart in how they've dealt with salary cap and with Mahomes' contract, Kelce's contract, Jones' contract. They pay their big guys, and then they draft everybody else and keep it on the cheap. That's why Sneed is gone, because you're paying other guys a shit ton of money. I mean, when you think of how much they're paying just those 3 players, it's closing in on $100 million, and you have $150 million for the other 50 players. Yeah. So, this is how it is. All other teams should take a note. If you look, other than Chris Jones defensively, they don't spend money. If they draft, they hold you for a certain number of years, and then they move on. They spend their money on offense. If it's an offensive league and you have the best quarterback in the league, they're doing it exactly the way they should. It's fascinating to me when you look at last year. It was probably their weakest team from top to bottom, but yet they still won the Super Bowl. So, a lot of it just comes down to, like you said, if Andy Reid is there, Patrick Mahomes is there, and to me, a lesser degree, but also still important, Kelsey's there. And Chris Jones too. They're just tough, Patrick Mahomes is the modern day Tom Brady. Like, you just don't ever think that the score is out of line, that you can't make a comeback. They've done it so many times. We've seen him do it down 3 touchdowns in a playoff game, in the first half of a game. So there's something about that gives you confidence that other teams just don't have. Maybe Cincinnati has it when Joe Burrow is rolling and playing a whole season. Perhaps Buffalo gets that a little sometimes with Josh Allen when they get rolling, but it ain't like what Kansas City has in Patrick Mahomes, and the feeling of confidence that he just gives the rest of this team. they all go into every play and every quarter like it's not over yet. We still got a chance.
You got to give credit to their scouting department and their drafting team because they have to.
Absolutely.
They have to hit on those because of the money they're spending, and it's working.
And they
really
do.
Well.
Yeah. Who's their GM? Veach.
Yeah.
So he's done a great.
Veach,
yeah, he's done a great job, and I'm sure Andy Reid is a part of that. If you really go back and look at what Andy Reid had done for years with the Eagles, you'll see how they would do very similar stuff. They would let. You kind of see this with Belichick for many years, but they would let go of a guy a year early rather than a year late.
Yep.
And what that means is you're getting rid of him before you have to really pay big money for a declining player. So they're very smart, and he's very smart. It's shrewd, but it's very smart. And yeah, I'm with you. They're still the favorites, certainly the favorites in the AFC West.
The LA Chargers, one of my favorite sons is now the coach there, Jimmy Harbaugh. They added running backs, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins. They kind of cleaned house a little bit. They lost wide receivers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, running back Austin Eckler, tight end Gerald Everett. The draft, first pick, 5th overall, tackle out of Notre Dame, Joe Alt.
Killing it.
Second round, 34th overall, wide receiver out of Georgia, Ladd McConkey.
Like it.
3rd round, 69th overall, middle linebacker out of Michigan, Junior Colson. Knows the guy well.
You would think.
5th round, 140 cornerback out of Notre Dame, Cam Hart. They're trying to replace some major positions now. They're getting older on the defensive line.
For sure.
Mr. Bosa and what's the guy, Mack?
Khalil Mack, yeah.
Khalil Mack and Derwin James never healthy. They're rebuilding the wide receiver room, running back room. I don't know why they went older instead of trying to get younger, but we'll see. It's brother to brother maybe connection here, trying to talk them into
it's temporary.
I like their draft. I like Jimmy knows what he's doing. Let's be honest.
For sure.
There's no secret there.
He has an advantage over the next couple of years having been a college coach. This is one of the few advantages a college coach has coming out of the college ranks is that it's not just the guys on your team or in your conference that you're going to know very well. You're going to know all the top players, especially a guy like Jim Harbaugh, because he was recruiting all of them. So it's not just they played for him or they played against him. He's watched them all. He's watched most of these top players, especially the ones that are getting drafted. He's watched them all from the time they were coming out of high school. So it's a huge advantage. It's what most college coaches have. Now, he's not your typical college coach. Obviously, he's been in the NFL and gone to a Super Bowl. But still, for the next 3 years, it's a huge advantage that he has over every other.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I had a conference real quick. We'll go back into it. November 3rd at the Browns. November 17th versus the Bengals, and November 25th versus the Ravens. Listen, Jimmy, and he brought in, his old OC, Roman.
Yep.
So they're familiar there. They're like two peas in a pod. Division's tough. It's going to take them a little bit. A lot of rookies, a lot of makeover on that team, dude. You can't flip it like you can in college. I think his first year Michigan went 9-3, and then he should have been 10-2 because that's stupid. Oh yeah, 10. Well, they won the bowl game. They won the bowl game.
Okay, yeah,
10. Yeah. That stupid Michigan State snap shit. They should have won that game.
Right. That was his first year, huh?
Yeah, he should have won 11, dude. And
I remember
his first
that.
year.
Yeah.
And that Denver. And listen, Brady Hoke had a pretty good roster. He just didn't know how to coach.
Yeah.
So, I like to say I'm rooting for him, but I'm not because he's in my division.
Right. You're not rooting against them unless they're playing Denver, or if you guys are in the hunt, both of you are in the hunt for a playoff spot or something.
If we're cooked and they have a chance to knock out Kansas City or something like that, then obviously I'll be all good.
Yeah. But you have some sentimental connection there.
4 minutes to go. USA down 2. Yeah, this is gonna be nutty.
Pecker to pecker.
Yeah, obviously love the guy, but going to all teams.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting. I think it's an interesting year here for them. They got a last place schedule, which helps. I wouldn't be surprised if they got it to a bit of a slow start. I didn't look at their schedule exactly in the first 5 or 6 games, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were either 500 or under 500 in the beginning of the season. You look
Herbert, like a little banged up already.
Right. Doesn't scare me too much other than the fact that you got a new offensive coordinator, so he's learning a new language, and now he's not putting that work in. I'm sure he isn't. Obviously, he isn't in the classroom and stuff like that, but not on the field. And that's where it matters.
Yep.
He'll be back. He'll be back in practice before the season starts with plenty of time to get that shit straightened out. But it is an issue, and it's a plantar fasciitis, which I've had, and it is a pain in the balls
to
like fix it. Definitely. Comes back very easily. One step and it's right back. For any of you who don't know, it's like when you get think of it as like that real hard strain on the bottom of your foot. It's like the band that goes from your toes to your heel, like on the bottom of your foot. And it just gets inflamed. And then no matter how close you are to having it healed, all it takes is like, you take one step to go upstairs and bing, it pops. It's like
you slip on the kitchen floor and you're like,
it's the worst, bro. It's the worst. So it could be a lingering issue for the whole year. But listen, you've made the case, if you really go back far enough, all the way back to his days as the head coach at San Diego University, the guy doesn't lose. He's just a really good head coach. Maybe what he's best at is creating a culture of this is who we are and how we do things. Everywhere he's been, he sets the tone, sets the culture. You're either going to fit. Now, that's different than, say, system. He's the kind of guy that will work with the types of players that he has. He's had Alex Smith and he's had Colin Kaepernick and made it work with both. What's that?
And he's had Andrew Luck.
And Andrew, I'm not talking that he's a system guy in the sense of like, this is what we do. You have to fit into that. No. He will find a way to work with the players that he has. Culture is different. It's how we operate. And I'm kind of paraphrasing how he would say his teams are. It's like, you're going to work hard. You're going to do your job. We're going to be super physical. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run play action off of that. And we're going to, we're not going to make mistakes. But, and he preaches that and works it every game, every practice, every meeting. So, and the track record is there, dude. So players are going to buy into that immediately. Yeah. He's like a half players coach and a half not players coach. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like players seem to love him. And then, at some point they don't because he pisses them off because he wants things the way he wants things. But if anybody out there thinks that this isn't going to work, when we shall see. Because I'm with you, man. There was a lot of talent that was let go of this team. I mean, a lot in a lot of different places.
And now that they're gone, what a waste. What a fucking waste.
I know.
I feel like the Chargers have been doing this for 20, 25 years.
I was going to say the same thing. If you look back over the last 20, 25 years, good quarterbacks, good running backs, good
Rivers,
receivers,
Tomlinson,
great
Eckler.
linebackers.
Dude.
Like, they've had some really all-time really great players.
And listen, I got to tell you, me and Eddie had this thing going back and forth for a long time. It's the curse of Marty Schottenheimer. Guy won 13 games and they fucking fired him, and they haven't been the same team since.
You're kind of right, yeah. Yeah, because they lost a first-round playoff game with that. And
hosted 2 against Tom Brady, like he's never done that before.
I know, right?
I'm like,
so I could see him getting off to a little slow start, but finishing up very, very strong this year. I could see a lot of those rookies having a tough time. Look, it's quite a challenge going from college football to the NFL. It's not easy. So those guys are going to need some time, but just expect by the end of the season. I don't know that they're a playoff team.
I don't think
but
so.
I can also see them being the kind of team that nobody necessarily wants to play at the end of the season.
Just update real quick. Under 2 minutes, USA up 3. LeBron used to lay up 89-86. Embiid almost choked him before. He's dribbling like a fucking asshole, and he dribbled off his ass. I don't know what he's doing, but the USA fought back. 150 to go. Serbia's three-point luck. It looks like it's ran out. Intercepted by Curry. Curry's on the slowed up. Up 5. Minute 40 to go. Wow.
All right, who we got next? Who we got next?
The Las Vegas Raiders, who I hate, added quarterback Gardner Minshew and running back Alexander Madison. They lost Jimmy G and running back Josh Jacobs. And new coach Antonio Pierce, by the way, they gave him the job. They took the interim tag off of him. They drafted number 1, 13th overall, tight end out of Georgia, Brock Bowers.
Fantastic player.
And a guy we both loved, offensive tackle out of Oregon, Jackson Powers Johnson, 2nd round, 44 overall. That's I think one of the best. I think those are 2 of the best players that the Raiders have drafted in the same draft in a long time. However, with Bowers, I don't know if it's a position that they necessarily need. I think they could have went. They got lucky with a tackle still being there in the 2nd round. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Schedule: September 15th at the Ravens, November 3rd host the Bengals, and November 17th in Miami. What do you think about Antonio Pierce? Let's start there.
Look, I love the job that he did at the end of last season. I think it was hard to not give him the job. And at the same time, I feel like this is not a good football team. Some things are gone. I think they're a pretty bad team. What I will say is this, though: what they're lacking in some things, I think Bowers really is a nice addition. When you don't have a lot of weapons, one of the first things to get is a tight end, because what do we talk about all the time? They're a good tight end. Kelsey, some of these guys, even who was the dude that we said that was from Miami and then New England, didn't work out. Gesicki, like he was a perfect example. Like he's tall and fast, not a typical blocking tight end.
Yeah.
You put these kind of guys like that up against linebackers and safeties, it's a nightmare matchup. Those guys can't cover them. They can't cover them. So what you're lacking in some other positions, he helps if he's who we think he is, and why wouldn't he be? He helps a lot with that kind of stuff. But I just think this is a pretty bad team. I think this is a pretty bad team. They have no quarterback. Minshew's nice. Listen, Minshew won 9, whatever. The Colts ended up winning 9 games last year.
He won probably 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, which I didn't think they were a particularly good team. So to win 9 games and push for a playoff run is interesting. I never thought he was bad. I think he's the best backup. He would be one of the bottom third starters in the league, although I think he could start, which he is now. So I just don't think they're a very good team. And I don't know we talk about this all the time. I don't like hiring defensive coaches. I know it works out sometimes, but in this league, the way it is now, I just don't love it.
And I don't know about the interim tag either with the hire after the emotion wears off. And I don't know.
Well, because all it takes is like start the season 0-3 or 1-4, and nobody gives a shit what you did last year.
Correct.
All the feel good is gone.
He's got some guidance from what I heard. Tom Coughlin's been hanging around there. Marvin Lewis has been hanging around there. Guys with experience, a long time.
That's nice, but you got to have good players. And I just don't think they have really good players.
Agreed.
I think there's some things there on the offensive side of the ball that are interesting.
Shit.
But not on the defensive side. I think it's a rough team. I think it's going to be a rough.
Serbia hit a layup and won down 3.
How much time?
Of course, LeBron takes a 3-pointer like last possession unnecessarily.
Of course.
It's got to be about LeBron.
How much time?
Under a minute. I think 57 seconds. Let me see here, Coach. Yeah, this Serbian team's scrappy, though. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
56.4. Bojan Bogdanovic, an NBA player, at the line. Yeah, he looks like my buddy Tyler a little bit. Holy shit. Free throw's good. Down 2.
Got to get a defensive stop. All right, what about the Denver Broncos?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my. According to, was it PFF? No.
Yeah, we talked about this. You don't got to rub my face.
Rank 30. I disagree. I disagree with them. Yeah, I disagree with them.
Oh, big shot. Durant, 34 seconds ago. Added wide receiver Josh Reynolds and defensive end with a trade from your Jets, John Franklin Myers, who I like.
Nice player.
They lost quarterback Russell Wilson, good riddance. They lost wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, good riddance. And they lost center Lloyd Cushenberry, who I like, but took a while to get going. And then when he got good, he left as a free agent. So that kind of stings a little bit. They drafted quarterback out of Oregon, Bo Nix, first pick, 12th overall. His teammate, wide receiver Troy Franklin in the 4th round. And running back from Notre Dame, who I like. I hate the school, but I like the player. Audric Estime, local kid from St. Joe's up here in New Jersey.
Nice.
Runs hard.
Oh, yeah.
Guy's built like a brick shithouse. I like him a lot. I think he definitely has a role on this team. Scheduling, September 29th at the Meadowlands against your Jets. November 3rd at the Ravens, and December 29th at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Sean Payton effect here, they got to be better. I think just another year in the system. Bo Nix, from what I hear, looks comfortable.
Yes.
I don't necessarily know if he's going to start right away, but I don't know if the other 2 guys are any better.
I like Jarrett Stidham. I think I'm an outlier with that. I'm not saying he's some like top half of the league starter or something like that. But if you look at the last couple of games he started at the end of last year, like there's a lot of talent there. I actually think there's a lot of talent. And a report I heard earlier today was that Stidham is at least likely right now to be the week 1 starter.
Yeah. He's one on the depth chart right now, but that's a preseason thing. It's a champagne thing. He always does veterans ahead of anything. Doesn't mean
I think it would be wise, by the way. I mean, we talk about this all the time with quarterbacks.
I agree.
Give the kid a few weeks to see what NFL games look like, what they feel like, what it's like dealing with the entire week. Watch Stidham as a pro and see what he does and learn. I don't always look. I know it works out sometimes. CJ Stroud comes in right away, but more often than not, we see guys struggle, and then we say, "Oh, they stink." Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, they just happen to be with Jets. But we see it all the time, and I think it'd be wise to let him sit for a little while and watch. It does now. Bo Nix might be a little different. I wouldn't be surprised if because we've talked about like Drake May and some of the other players. That would be nice to sit him till week 10, 11, 12, something like that. I think that's different here because he does have some players around him. He does have a half decent offensive line, and he has a good offensive coach.
Correct.
So
on both ends, yeah.
I could see, I would be more comfortable with, say, week like 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there, depending on how things are going. I'm of a different mindset of other people. I think Denver's a slightly better team than others are giving them credit for. I heard some people saying they might be the worst team in the league. I just don't see it. I don't see it
either. Yeah.
I see a lot of decent players on that team. So I think things, and it depends, and you would know better how their schedule looks in the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. But I would love to see him sit for a few weeks, at least a few weeks. But I also, from everything I'm hearing, super smart kid, picks things up very quickly. Great footwork.
Veteran player, college 5 years.
Great footwork, which, trust me when I tell you, for a rookie coming in, when your footwork is in line, let me say it the opposite. When your footwork is off, you're fucked in so many other ways. Even in areas that you're pretty good at, if your footwork is off, it's not good. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him start earlier than some of the other rookies per se, but I like to see him let him sit for a little bit.
Mature guy, already married.
Yeah.
Dad was a quarterback in the league.
Played 9 years of college football.
Yeah, he's got something. I like listen. Watching Russell every week for 2 years was tearing my eyes out of my head because that was such a bad move. What they gave up, the money they spent. And you got listen.
But it's smart. It's we talk about the salary cap and dead cap money. We're not in those meetings. We're not on the practice field, and we're not watching the film like they do. It's not easy to walk away from a commitment like that.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's how bad it must have been.
That's what I'm trying to get to, and how also smart it is that if it is that bad, just you got to do it. Then what are you gonna do? You can't just linger in limbo for the next 2, 3 years, 4 years. Trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit with Russell Wilson. Move on. Things will go the way they'll go this year. You'll get that cap space back next year.
Yep.
And what choice do you have? So,
real quick before we do the order, it's USA hangs on and wins by 4.
Go to the gold medal game.
Steph Curry, phenomenal today. I heard from what I heard early in the first half, and then he hit 2 clutch free throws down the stretch. I'm glad he's. This is his first Olympics. Is that true?
I didn't know that.
So my buddy works for
me a little.
I thought he was in another one, but maybe not.
It wasn't in Tokyo?
It surprised me big time, to be honest with you. But listen, they have the gold medal this day. They can't. This is what an embarrassment.
Yeah, what did I just see? Who are they playing? They will play
France?
France, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, crowd's gonna be pro France.
Yes. France.
That's gonna be exciting. What's that, Saturday?
Wembanyama.
Do you know and Gobert?
Is Gobert on that team?
Yeah, I think so.
Big boys.
Yeah, it's gonna. I hope they bring the shooting game. Peter, I have the order of finishing in last place. I have the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm with you. I just don't think there's a lot of talent here. Minshew's a good player, scrappy guy, but he's not a 16, 17 game starter. He's a guy that fills in the gaps when you need him. And Aiden O'Connell, I haven't seen much. I just don't see it there. Can he be a third string in the league or practice guy for a while? Yeah, sure. But
I think he throws a
on the
really, really
Raiders.
nice ball, but he has no mobility whatsoever.
I think at some point Davante Adams is going to beg for a trade out of there.
I was just going to ask you if you think he's still on a team by the trade deadline.
I do not. I definitely do not. If
Makes
Jets,
no
Niners,
sense.
A wild card team in there somewhere, I don't see it. In
Buffalo?
third place, that's a good call. That's a good
very
call.
Interesting.
That's a good call, sir.
I don't want to see that. I'm just saying, like, if I'm Buffalo, that sounds yummy.
Green Bay, back to Green Bay? No way, right?
Never happened. Although it'd be coolish. They have so many young wide receivers, they don't need them.
Yeah. In third place, I got the Fighting Jimmy Harbaughs.
Ooh.
I don't know how clean it's going to be early, like you said. I think it's going to take about 6-7 weeks. And listen, also to get used to Jim. Jim's a different cat. It's not the same. Coming from Snowflake Staley, who they had the last couple of years, Jim's a different cat.
Not just that. I spoke about how he's a culture setter, but he's also breaking a decades-old culture of finding ways to lose. Either lose players to injury or lose games to some of the most fascinating and interesting results in history of the NFL. So you're not just building a new culture, you're breaking an old culture. And just like habits in general, that's not as easy to do as just come in and say we do things differently. You're changing an entire atmosphere, and that's just not easy. So yeah, it's going to take a little while. I have no doubt he'll do it, but it's going to take a little while.
In second place, I got the Broncos. Listen, and I'm not saying this because it's a homer pick. Listen, if the Broncos are 8-9 and the Chargers are 7-10 or 8-9, same thing. I just think maybe they got the winning percentage. I just don't think it's a competitive division this year as we thought it was going to be 2 years or 3 years ago.
I'm with you on that. Absolutely.
I think Bo Nix sits early, starts eventually, brings some juice. They got some weapons. I hope they don't trade Sutton. Timmy Patrick's back. They got some younger wide receivers who I like. Running back room is pretty good now, pretty deep. Good line. I wish I had a tight end. Their tight end room stinks. Defense is always pretty good. After the first month last year when the Dolphins put 70 on them, they figured it out. Their defense is pretty good.
Oh, we lost Scotty there for a second, and now he's kind of coming his way back. I can see you, but don't hear you. I don't hear you. Oh, he's working on it. He's working on it. Come on, load up, baby. Sometimes this happens. Live podcast. No, still don't hear you. Just waiting for him to explain why Kansas City is the best team in the division, which I think we can all figure that part out. Still trying. Can't hear you. So I think he's going to sign out and sign back in. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. There we go. He's signing out and signing back in. While he's doing that, here's what I'll do. I'll give you because obviously he has Kansas City in first place in the division. I'll give you my breakdown of the division. It's similar to his. I also have the Las Vegas Raiders in last place. Again, there are some talented pieces on this team. I just can't look at like a Gardner Minshew, and I like Gardner Minshew, to be honest, which I've always been kind of an advocate of his, but I can't look at him and say you're going to win divisions or compete for divisions, even though he did a really good job last year with the Colts. So I think Davante Adams is probably going to start asking for a trade somewhere around week 4, week 5, and we'll see how that goes. In third place, I have your Denver Broncos. Can you hear me now?
I'm good to go.
Yeah, we got you. I'm just doing my rundown while
I got a phone call there. Fuck me all up.
Oh, yeah. So I have your Denver Broncos in third place. Not because what's that? The Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing that while you were getting yourself logged back in. I have Denver in third place. So, and I have the Chargers in second, and I'm kind of with you. I think this is actually one of the weaker divisions in the entire NFL, and I'm going to include Kansas City in that. I got a bad feeling that you're going to see you might see an early good start for Travis Kelce. I think as the season goes on, you're going to see him break down. I think he's just getting a little. You kind of saw it last year until the playoffs. Yeah. He was a lesser player second half of the season. That doesn't undo itself. He's still a Swiftie. He's still getting older. It's still back-to-back long seasons, and now you're going to have to put in another one. I'm not saying he's washed up. I'm just saying you might see less quality and quantity out of him as the season goes on. So I think this is actually one of the weaker divisions in the entire NFL. In fact, if it wasn't for Kansas City, I would say it's the weakest division in the NFL, if you really think about it. So yeah, that's how I have it looking. When I say I have the Chargers and Denver second and third, you can flip-flop them. To me, they're both like either just at or below 500 teams. Yeah. So I'm going more with I like the head coach and and the quarterback with the Chargers more than I like the head coach and quarterback at Denver at this current time. So I'll put the Chargers ahead of them in second place and Kansas City to win the division.
All right. That's what we got. Next week, we go to the NFC.
NFC, right? We'll go NFC East?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good. I had asked you to name 3 teams that you feel, for whatever reason you have, need to get off to a hot start. So why don't you give me one of your teams? We can go back and forth one at a time. I don't have these in any particular order. I
don't either. Okay. I hope I'm not taking the wind out of your sails here. I got the New York Jets.
Okay.
I think obvious reasons: pressure, Rodgers, Saleh. Can Saleh coach? We have no idea if Saleh can coach.
And coach defense.
Defense is good, but I think the defensive coordinator is also really good.
Yep.
Schedule's a little tougher. Division's a little tougher. Rodgers hasn't played meaningful football in over a year. The guy's getting weirder and weirder off the field. I don't know what the hell's going on with that.
Jesus Christ.
I think Mike Williams, if he's Mike Williams, could be a huge addition at some point. I love Breece Hall. I hope none of my fantasy teammates are listening here. I love Breece Hall. Offensive line, they made an effort to improve it.
According to PFF, it's a top 6, top 7 offensive line in the league now.
We are both fans of Joe Douglas, but at some point, the Roost has to come home to roost, my friend. This is you're trying to put together a team for 5-6 years now, and you haven't even got to the playoffs.
4 years.
So, well, it feels like 12.
It feels like forever. Yeah.
So
I'm with you on the Jets.
I know you live this, so.
No, I have it. I have the Jets as one of mine, and maybe my top one. There's a couple that are obvious. One of them is the Jets. The other one, we'll see if you pick it. I didn't put it in here just because I thought you might, so I left it out, but I could always add it.
Yeah.
For all the reasons you said. Now, what I will tell you, even what puts even more urgency for me, if you look at their first 5-6 games, let's say first 6 games, 5 of them are what I would consider. I would think the Jets will probably be favored in those 5 games. I think the only one early in the season.
Not the Niners.
That's what I'm saying. I think the only one they won't be favored in early in the season is the 49ers. First game of the season. They're underdogs. 5-point underdogs.
Broncos in there. What, Titans? Who else?
Yeah, I think he even got. I don't know if Houston is one of those first 5 or 6 early in the season at home, but if you look, they're going to be favored in most of those games early in the season. So now, if you're going to tell me you're not 4-2 after 6 games when you're favored in 5 out of 6 or 4 out of 6 games. We got a problem. So it's not like a year ago, 2 years ago, where the first 8 games of the season are fucking killer. You don't have that. It gets tougher as the season goes on. But, man, they should get off to a hot start. I don't know that hot start starts against San Francisco, but be competitive against San Fran and then start winning some games and be 4-2 after 6 games. I think if they're 3-3 after 6 games, there's heat, but it's not hot. 2-4, and bro, it's gonna be rough. What do I tell you all the time? It's not like the NBA where you lose today and you got another game in 2 days.
Yeah,
you got an entire week of Mike Francesa, Colin Cowherd, who loves to kill the Jets.
Boomer and Gio,
Dan Patrick, Michael K show for sure. every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like it's just going to never end, and it can't go on. And Salah will be the first one to be gone. If they have a losing record, like if they're below 500 by like a couple games by like Thanksgiving, I'd suspect he's probably going to be out. So if there's a losing record later in the season, I don't think they're going to wait. I think they're going to move. So the hottest seat going right now.
Number 2 for me, another hot seat, the Dallas Cowboys.
I had them and crossed it out.
I
had them and crossed it out.
I mean, it's the most obvious one in the world. Dakota Prescott, contract looming. Got to pay Lamb. Lamb's holding out. Micah Parsons wants a payday at some point soon. Mike McCarthy, no contract extension. They didn't go after Vrabel, Harbaugh, Belichick. They stuck with him. They had a great regular season again. Got smoked at home against the Packers in the playoffs. I mean, this is and speaks for itself. Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they're always in the news.
America's team.
So I mean, it is.
I looked at the Cowboys' first 6 games. You got Browns, Saints, Ravens, Giants, Steelers, Lions. It's not easy. Yeah, I guess you can say the Saints should be a win. Giants should be a win.
At the Giants, it's tricky, but they smoked the Giants last year in a monsoon. But
Saints is no. I don't think the Saints are good.
It's
but they're not in a layup. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in New Orleans, it's a harder game.
Yeah, absolutely. NFL schedule. Let's see if I can find this bad boy.
The Baltimore game's interesting too. For both, I think, right?
You know, absolutely. It's a tough game. That's just well, certainly for both. Yeah. Let's see if I can get Dallas's schedule up here. Of course, it's not going to show me.
Why'd you take the readers off?
Because I don't need it for the screen. I need it for my shitty handwriting. I can't find the damn thing.
Yeah, I can't get to it now because I'm on my phone. So
yeah. Anyway, I'm with you on that one. My second one. Did you have anything to add to that?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, my second one. It's a different one. It's a very interesting one, and it's almost like self-inflicted. But I'm going to say the Bears. And the main reason being, number one, you get the first pick in the draft, Caleb Williams, who everybody's already got you in the goddamn playoffs, and Nick Wright, who's absolutely retarded, has them as a potential Super Bowl contender. Like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why don't you put a little unnecessary pressure on a poor rookie quarterback? But anyway, that's the way it works. So there's pressure. But more to the point is Eberflus. If they don't get off to a fast start, there's going to be a lot of people calling for his head, saying that you should have got rid of him last year when you knew you were bringing in Caleb Williams. You're bringing in a young quarterback, bringing in a young head coach. His first 6 games of the season: Titans, Texans, Colts. What the fuck is that? Rams, Carolina, and Jags.
They play the whole almost AFC South before Columbus Day?
Yeah. Now, if you remember, if I remember correctly, when we were talking about scheduling quirks, I don't think they have a division game until week 10.
Wow.
So you're going to see a lot of that.
Them and the Steelers, I think. Same thing.
Steelers is week 11.
That's fucking nuts, dude. So, that's almost comedy, but rude
crazy.
At the same time.
So Titans, I would say you should win that one, but it's game 1 with a rookie quarterback. That's no layup. I don't care who you are. Like, I know they've loaded up with some nice players, but Texans is going to be tough. I think that's on the road. I'm not sure, though. Colts is tough. Rams, obviously tough. Carolina, should they win? They should win. And then the Jags. If the Jags are any better, and we think they could be better, then that's a tough one. You could see them easily starting 2-4, 1-5.
Yep.
Very easily.
Yeah.
So, and then there's massive pressure on Eberflus and, people starting asking questions about Caleb Williams, especially if they're losing these games and he's not putting up big numbers.
And GM Ryan Pauls went out and traded for Keenan Allen, signed DeAndre Swift. Like, they got weapons, but.
See, now I think there'll be some people calling for him, maybe because he didn't fire Eberflus, but I'm just going to say this between you and me and you and whoever's listening. Like, I actually think he's done a really good job. if you look at roster construction over the last 2 years, the changes they made, bringing in DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, you got running backs. Their defense went from one of the worst in the league to one of the best in the second half of the season last year.
Yep.
With the defensive head coach, you should. So that's good. Like, I think he's done really good with roster construction. Nobody's going to complain that he took Caleb Williams with the number 1 pick, right? So, like, where's his problem? The only mistake, if it's a mistake, if they get off to a slow start, only mistake he made was that he held on to Eberflus. But so the other side of that is I heard reports just 2 days ago that Poles loves Eberflus. I mean, loves him. Thinks he's super organized, excellent coach, has a way with the players, all the right things. So that wasn't something that Poles said. That was something that was said behind the scenes. So it wasn't like he was just blowing smoke because you have to. You know what I mean? So he really likes him.
I think Caleb is so odd. I think there's just something.
He's different. Yeah, he's unique. And I don't know that to me, you show me a time where that kind of strangeness turns into like big time wins in the NFL. He's so much better than everybody else in college that even though they didn't have a great season last year. But in the NFL, you can't be weird. You got to be as regular as there is. Like, you just have to be regular, especially at quarterback. You can be a wide receiver and be a diva, but you can't be a quarterback and be a diva.
First overall with the history. And
there's just a lot of weird stuff there.
For a team that struggled, they pretty much have a pretty veteran locker room now, the Bears.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Poles has made some really good moves that I like. But, it always comes down to quarterback. So yeah. I think they need to get off to a good start, and I can very easily see a 2-4, 1-5 start. If they're 3-3, it's fine. 2-4, 1-5. Oh, look out!
Yeah,
look out.
Last one
that media and that Chicago media, have fun with that.
Last one for me, Coach. I have the Buffalo Bills.
Really?
Yeah. Listen. Enough is enough, man. Josh Allen needs to prove all these guys, all the hype. Josh Allen. Stephon Diggs couldn't wait to get out of there. I heard Josh Allen say, yeah, he's a good player. I wouldn't say I'm going to miss him.
Not going to miss him. Yeah, interesting, right?
So what does that tell you?
He wants Devontae Adams.
Is that on Diggs? Is that on Allen? Is that on both? A little bit of
probably a little bit of both.
McDermott's we've talked about this, is warming, my friend. It has to be.
For sure.
How many playoff games, how many home, the decision to kick the ball at Kansas City a couple years ago, they scored in 14 seconds to tie it, went in overtime. The running game's okay. Remember, a lot of those defensive guys are gone. Linebacker, corner, Von Miller's shot. Miami's coming. Jets are coming. Did you miss your window? Is the window just still open? I think a lot of pressure on the Bills, man, on both Allen and McDermott, for me.
So I thought about the Bills, and I also thought about Cincinnati. But here's the thing about both of those teams. You were thinking Cincinnati too?
Cincinnati, I was going to too, but they always start slow.
So that was my thing with both of them, is that both of them have had slow starts in the past, but then like last year, they needed to win 6 games in a row to make it to the playoffs, win a division, make the playoffs. Yeah. But they did it.
Yeah.
Cincinnati has been one of the few teams historically in the NFL to start 1-3 or 1-4 and still make the playoffs. They've done it, I think, twice since Joe Burrow has been there. So while I think it would be advantageous for both of them to get off to quicker starts than they're used to getting off to, I'm not going to point the rifle at them if they don't, because both of them have proven in the past that even if we get off to slow starts, we know how to right the ship. So that's what leads me to my third team, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Good one.
It's fascinating. You just gave Trevor Lawrence $55 million a year, which you're not getting out of now unless you try to pull some kind of Denver-like maneuver in moving him 2 years from now or something like that, which I don't see happening. No. Peterson really righted the ship when he first got there, but man, last year there was a lot of people calling for his head that he did a shitty job. The schedule is tough, but not impossible to start the season. To me, if you look at their first 6 games, I didn't write them down, but if you look at their first 6 games, what I saw was anywhere from 2-4 to 4-2. And there's a huge fucking difference between 4-2 and 2-4. So,
especially the AFC.
Yeah. So, well, that's the other thing. There's a lot of competition for making the playoffs in the AFC. So I look and I say, I think they need to get off to a fast start to quiet some of the concerns from last year. I think if they do that, I think if they get off to a fast start, whatever happens the rest of the season can be dealt with. I think if they get off to a slow start, I think the heat really gets turned up high. Now, the only thing that I will say both of them have in their favor is that Jacksonville's not exactly like a big media town. So they're not going to get crushed as like Saleh will or like Eberflus will in Chicago. Chicago's a very tough media town, man. They fucking go after their guys hard. So, or if you were in LA or Dallas or something like that, Jacksonville doesn't have that. But I think that kind of pressure actually would come more from ownership than it would from media. Okay. It'll also, all these situations, it'll depend on what it looks like. Were crucial players injured, leading to more losses? I don't know. Go ahead.
You got to trust Peterson a little bit too, that he'll right the ship as well.
I'm with you, but that's just not how it works anymore. We got Robert Saleh on the hot seat right now, but he lost one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the history of football after 4 plays last year. You know what I mean? And then go 7-10. It's hard. That's when you lose that kind of that's why I'm saying it depends on how these things go down. But assuming relative health with all these teams, I say, these teams have to get off the hot starts. I had the Cowboys as an also in the running. And then I thought you would have definitely put this one. It's the only reason I didn't. It's just Sirianni and the Eagles. There was a report that came out this week that Sirianni and Hurts were not on the same page at all last year with offense and how things were being run. And apparently actual communication broke down and they just weren't even like talking very much, or Jalen Hurts wasn't doing much talking. Take that with a grain of salt. I don't know how far that goes. It's easy to say when you lose 6 or 7 in the games at the end of the season, but they were ready to fire a coach that had gone to the Super fucking Bowl the year before and almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe should have or could have beat the Kansas City Chiefs. There's a shitload of pressure on him. I kept them off the list because I just figured you would, and I wanted to add something else other than the Eagles. So, but I think if they get off to a slow start, look out, dude. That's another media area, Philly. Ay, Dios mío.
Yeah,
they are not kind. They are not kind.
Can you make an argument for Detroit or Houston, or like it's all cream cheese at this point?
I can't make an argument for either one of them. Obviously, if Detroit were to have some kind of like epic collapse,
if they went 6-11 or something.
Yeah, now again, if they lose Jared Goff and that happens, he's not going to get killed. But
correct.
If you have your key players in place and let's say they go 6-11.
Or if Detroit has like a Philly breakdown, like just like good segue.
I don't think he would lose his job, but everybody, anything like that, I don't care who you are, other than I don't know, Bill Belichick or Jimmy Harbaugh, Andy Reid, John Harbaugh. I think even he would catch some heat at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of Lamar Jackson's failures, and I have them. I don't know that they need to get off to a hot start, but there's a different kind of pressure on them this year, which is you got to be more than just a really good regular season team. I think another poor playoff performance, one and done, or one win and then lose the second one, and you're just, even if you win they have to start doing more in the playoffs, or else I think there could be talk of kind of like a Bill Walsh change. It's just time. It's not that you're doing a bad job. It's not that we don't like you. It's not that we don't appreciate everything you've done. It might just be time.
Tomlin's going to be there soon too, I think. But
I think so too. Now we can talk about that another day, but you can only say, we've gone 17 seasons without a losing season. Yeah, you've also gone 12 seasons or 10 seasons, however, without a playoff win. So are we you're the king of mediocrity? Is that what you're hanging your hat on? Now, I know he's not saying this. I'm just saying the people who defend him as a great coach. He's basically like a one game above 500 coach for the last 10 years. He won a Super Bowl his first year, went to the Super Bowl in his second year, hasn't even sniffed it since.
Yep.
So, and don't give me that he didn't have a good quarterback. He had a first ballot Hall of Famer with 2 Super Bowl wins under his belt in Ben Roethlisberger. Now, whatever some people think about him, the guy was excellent, and he did very, very well in playoffs. So you can't even use that argument of we didn't have a top shelf quarterback. You did for most of those years, up until the last 2, I guess, of Roethlisberger's career. So that's not even an excuse for you.
Peter, can I have some music, please?
I would love to give you some music.
And please turn off your comments.
Will do. Let me see how loud this is. I'm a little nervous. Hold on. Hold, please.
Holding.
Hold, please. We're good. What you got?
All right. What Michigan player won MVP of the 1997 Rose Bowl? Brian Griese, Ty Streets, Charles Woodson, Dahani Jones.
97.
They beat the Washington State Cougars led by Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, wasn't it who are the options again?
Brian Griese, Ty Streets, Charles Woodson, Dahani
Wasn't it Charles
Jones.
Woodson?
It was not, sir. It was Brian Griese.
Brian Griese.
Threw 3 touchdown passes, and his dad was doing the game with Keith Jackson, and Keith Jackson came and said, "Do you want to know who the MVP is? I'm sitting next to his proud daddy."
I like that. You know what was funny is my first instinct was Brian Griese, but I'm like, I feel like I remember Charles Woodson with the rose in his mouth.
That was after beating Ohio State at the Big House.
Ah, shit. Okay. Yeah. That was the picture that image changed my mind.
Yep, I got you.
I'm a dummy.
You had the right image, you just had the wrong game.
Wrong time. Yeah.
Bear Bryant only lost 2 home games in his 25 years at Alabama.
No way.
Can you name them?
Is that fucking true?
Is it Georgia, Florida State, South Carolina and Tennessee, Mississippi State and Ole Miss, or Florida and Southern Mississippi?
Oh my God, you threw Southern Miss in there. Like Southern Miss isn't even an SEC team, but that's what makes it, as you would say, fishy.
And neither is Florida State.
You said Florida and Southern Miss.
I also said Georgia and Florida State.
All right, you're a dick now. What were my options?
Georgia, Florida State, South Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Florida, Southern Mississippi.
All right, I'm kind of hung up on the last 2. I feel like there's like some symmetry between like the Mississippi State thing, and then there's like the throw you off the scent Southern Miss Florida thing. I don't think it's the first 2. Which means it's probably one of the first 2. But I'm going to go with the symmetry of Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
You're so close.
Don't tell me
Florida
it was and Southern Miss. Ah, damn it. You know what I hate? This is what I hate. When I give you all the reasons for the right answer, but I choose the wrong answer.
This is how much you know me, and I gotta start fucking changing shit up.
Man.
Because the answer was Florida Southern Miss. I'm like, oh, that's kind of. So I threw in the other Mississippi teams in there to kind of fuck you up, and it worked.
You're such a dick. Oh God!
All right, you got to get this one as a Florida State guy. Who was the career leader in rushing touchdowns at Florida State? Dalvin Cook, Warwick Dunn, Amp Lee, Travis Minor. Oh, no, he is.
You know what I hate?
He is battling.
What were the first 2?
Just Dalvin Cook, Warwick Dunn.
What's funny is I think it was Warwick Dunn, and I think Dalvin Cook beat his record, but see, Travis Minor was there the same time that Warwick Dunn was there. He played a little bit. He was one, I think I told you the story on this podcast where he got his bell rung and he was walking on the sideline and he didn't make it all the way and just face first. I was like, oh shit, he's out. So maybe they split a little. Who was the last one?
Amp Lee. Remember Amp Lee?
Yeah.
Fucking good play. Little scrappy guy.
Fuck it. Oh, man.
Well, at least I know I still got good questions. That makes me happy.
I do not like my answer. It seems too obvious. I'm trying to think. Warwick Dunn Amp Lee probably played his entire career too. Warwick Dunn was a starter from the time he was a freshman. I think Dalvin Cook was not. I think he probably only played 2 years. Oh, shit. The answer is probably Amp Lee. I'm going to go Warwick Dunn.
Peter, sleep well. You're 0 for 3. Dalvin Cook.
Oh my God.
So you would have been 0 for 2 in that question, too.
I fucking hate this.
I love you, but
I hate it. That was a bad one. That was a bad one.
You haven't had an 0 for in a long time, bro. And
I had the answer on 2 out of 3
kickoff, and you're going 0 for 3. Peter.
Before we go, real quick, WWE update. Last weekend, Saturday, was SummerSlam, and it was the return of the original Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. We had not seen Roman Reigns since WrestleMania, and his loss to Cody Rhodes. Took a little vacation, probably went down under, jabbed himself with some steroids, came back Saturday night, looked fantastic. One of the things that fascinates me so much about pro wrestling is the idea of good guys and bad guys, and how from time to time they switch. Like a good guy becomes a bad guy becomes a good guy, because that's where the storyline goes. Roman Reigns was the champion for 4 years. I don't remember in my life a guy who was more hated than Roman Reigns. Like, people were just, if you look online, people were just like, this guy's got to lose. I'm sick and tired of him, blah, blah, blah. Bro, if you would have heard this place go fucking bananas when his music hit and he comes out to the ring and interferes in the match and stuff, and he's instantly a good guy again because of other stuff that's going on in WWE.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh shit. Not because of what he did, but just because of the fans' reaction and how quickly they went from like hating his guts, being glad that he lost. You don't see him for 3 months and change, something like that. And now you're clamoring for him. It's hilarious to me. It's like, Michael Jordan takes a year and a half off to go play baseball, and all the people that were hating him, not because they hated him like a wrestler, but because he's like taking titles and you can't beat him. They all loved him when he came back, right? And it was like, oh, thank God Jordan's back. We missed him. That kind of thing.
Well,
like,
I'll give you one.
Sometimes you don't know what you got until they're gone.
I'll give you one recently. Everyone's sick of Giancarlo Stanton. What a fucking thing. As soon as he gets turns out of lineup, we can't win a game. I miss this fucking guy.
Exactly.
Judge needs protection.
And then he comes back and stabilizes the lineup a little bit, right?
Crazy.
So it is funny.
Yeah.
Fans are fickle, man. Fans are fickle. But for when it comes to pro wrestling, which is basically a live movie or a live TV show, because obviously it's choreographed, to me, it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. So it was a lot of fun. It was an excellent event, by the way. The entire event was loaded with great matches, so it was a lot of fun. But the original, the OTC, he wore a T-shirt that said OTC, the original Tribal Chief, is back.
Don't get confused with the OTB, Peter.
Oh, of course, yeah. And he's not the over-the-counter chief. He's the original Tribal Chief.
I like it.
All right, my man. For Scott Bracey, I'm Pete Colasano. You've been listening to Bump and Run. We'll catch you guys next week.
Later.
All right.
Sorry for all the confusion early on, man. That was fucking crazy.
Dude, not for anything. This might be a better avenue for you because the picture's excellent. The sound quality's good. Yeah. I mean, if it's easier. So something to consider for next week.
Sounds good.
All right, dude. I'll have this out later tonight.
All right, pal. Have a good weekend.
All right, bye.
Later.